None of us can deny that social media has become an intrinsic part of life. Whether we like it or not, what happens online has become almost as significant as what happens in the real world. So it's worth considering how we should navigate the tool of social media like a gentleman. Almost every man has some kind of digital presence, whether that's his Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, or simply the way he communicates on WhatsApp. These days, our personality online is just as much of a brand as that of a company or a celebrity. I think there are many benefits to social media, but it must be used responsibly and intentionally. Although I now make a living from social media, I'm not naturally inclined to it. In fact, I never had a very active digital presence before starting this channel. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 important steps to use social media like a gentleman. The first thing to remember is don't be a show-off. You don't need to have spent much time on Instagram and other social platforms to realize that both men and women use it to make their lives appear much better than they really are. On social media, they present a life that is wealthier, more luxurious and extravagant and happier than their real life. You see this most obviously when people pose with yachts, cars, bottles of champagne and flash expensive watches. However, a gentleman does not get his validation from his social media following. He would think that showing wealth, even if it's genuine, is gaudy and cringeworthy. That doesn't mean a gentleman makes his life look worse on social media either. Feel free to share experiences and things that are important to you, but don't focus on material displays of wealth. Ask yourself, am I posting this for my satisfaction or to make others envy me? The second rule of using social media like a gentleman applies more to interacting with the content of others rather than making your own. But that is, don't be a troll. The anonymity of certain online platforms is no excuse to be rude, antagonistic, or vulgar. Never say anything online that you wouldn't say in person. And even if you would say it in person in the heat of the moment, think, do you really want a permanent record of you saying it online? It's also important for a gentleman to avoid online drama and beef, especially when it comes to family issues or disagreements within friend groups. These things are best dealt with in person. You will maintain a better relationship with everyone involved if you keep yourself out of these situations on social media. Sometimes I have to remind myself to do this too. I will get a negative comment and I want to go in and respond, but then I remember there's 100 positive comments that I haven't responded to. It's an unfortunate truth about the human brain that we gravitate to negativity and we want to react to that first. Now, while a gentleman is never a troll online, nor is he a simp. Simp isn't a word I use a lot on this channel, but in a nutshell, it refers to a man who gives excessive attention to a woman who does not reciprocate the same feelings. These days, there is a whole industry built on simping, and it all began with social media. Some examples of simping include following hot girls that you don't know, liking their pictures, and even worse, sending them money. Frankly, this is very embarrassing. And even worse, if you have a girlfriend or wife, or you have one in the future, they're possibly going to get jealous and insecure if you do these kind of things. Coming back to things that a gentleman might post himself, he is always sure to value his privacy. It's up to you to determine what parts of your life to keep private and which parts you want public. But I would be careful about revealing your location, pictures of your family, especially your children, and your whereabouts. Also remember that your personal social media accounts and your professional reputation are not as separate as you might think. Consider this before sharing your political views, drunken escapades, or thoughts about your employer. If your priority is privacy, then you would have no social media, but that doesn't mean you can't have a social media presence and maintain some degree of privacy. Even with the number of followers I have on this channel, nobody knows more about my private life than I've decided to share. And that brings me nicely onto my next point, which is, if you're going to use social media, use it constructively. This journey I've been on has taught me the incredible power that social media has to be a force for good. Not only have I been able to share information and ideas that have helped and entertained people, but I've also been able to bring people together in real life and meet new friends. After 9 months of posting consistently, I've been able to make this my full-time job and launch my dream career. But you don't need to become an influencer or a YouTuber to use social media for good. Whether you are in the corporate world, you work for a non-profit, or you're an entrepreneur, you can use a tool like LinkedIn to advance your career. There you can make a personal brand, make connections, find opportunities, and become a thought leader in your industry. If you do charity work, you can use social media to spread awareness of your cause, raise money, and gain new supporters. Another thing I love about social media is that it can connect you with people who have shared interests. Whether you are a musician, a business person, a yogi, or a man who loves dressing well, social media is a place where you can find your people. The more niche and unusual your area of interest, the more powerful social media is, because it would be difficult to find those people in real life. And of course, let's not forget that social media can be used to maintain relationships with family members and friends. Facebook is still the best platform for this. Now older generations are getting into social media, we can use it to connect with our grandparents, uncles and aunts, and even long-lost relatives in distant countries. Even when using social media in a positive way, be sure that you limit the amount of time you spend online. There's a phone case that I've seen some people have, and I think it's very funny. It's designed to look like the cigarette warning labels in the UK, and it says, "Social media seriously harms your mental health." These apps are designed to be addictive and keep you scrolling for longer than you want to be. As a gentleman, you need to be conscious of any addictive behaviors you have, including social media. Personally, I don't find social media very engaging, it just doesn't appeal to my brain. But if you find yourself losing time to scrolling, set time limits on these apps via the settings on your phone. It's important to maintain self-governance in your use of social media. My final suggestion for how to use social media like a gentleman is to use it on your own terms. There is a lot of pressure today to be on social media. We're told that if we don't tap into the latest trends and join the newest platforms, we're missing out. We are warned that we won't only fall behind socially, but it could even have a negative impact on our businesses. But a gentleman does not follow the herd, and he only uses social media in a way that serves him. If, like me, you think TikTok dances are embarrassing, don't do them. If Twitter or Snapchat don't appeal to you, there's no need to be on these platforms. And remember that the next big thing often ends up being nothing of the sort. Remember when Threads came out last year? Millions of users rushed to join it, only to find out weeks later that this platform was going nowhere fast. So don't give in to peer pressure, use social media on your own terms. The way a gentleman uses social media is similar to the way he does many things in life. Intentionally, respectfully, but without compromise. How you want to navigate social media depends on your goals, your needs for privacy, and the nature of your profession and hobbies. But some universal rules also apply. Don't pretend to live a life that's wildly different from your reality. Don't use anonymity as an excuse for distasteful behavior, and don't get sucked in to the negativity of social media. Gentlemen, thank you for watching.